Please welcome my guest, B Rose, writer and creator of Cerebrum, Volume 1, that's currently in demand on Indiegogo. Welcome, B Rose. How you doing?
Dude, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on.
Take me, I guess you could say, on a voyage for a minute here. Who are you, and what prompted you to become, I guess, just not a comic book writer, but just a writer? Mm-hmm. But so, what was it that made you like, I wanna write? What was it?
So, my name is David Dominguez. I come from Houston, Texas. Just a little bit of the origin, and I've always been in love with the craft. I've read a lot of comic books, read a lot of manga primarily, which is my biggest influence, both writing, panel structure, storytelling in general, and just overall the bombastic nature of manga is what really got me hooked onto it more so than traditional like Western comics. So I was looking at cyberpunk first, and I was like, I love sci-fi. I love cyberpunk. I love the aesthetic, the neons, and so I was already constructing this whole world in my head. It's like, all right, what do I want to call it? I don't know yet. What's the currency? I don't know yet. So I gotta figure all of these things out.
Right. Yeah.
You gotta literally build the world from the single gram of cement all the way up to the highest building, to the top light bulb. Then something happened.
Oh, what happened?
Cyberpunk 2077 came out, and I was like, I damn near fucking threw everything out of the damn board, and I was like, God damn it! Now the thing is ruined. And I said, you know what? I'm not letting a year of work go to waste. I'm going to continue on. And so this one series dropped into my lap. It's called Black Lagoon. I loved it. So it's about pirates in the 80s in the South Asia Sea. Just dealing with a bunch of drug smugglers. It's a lot of violence. It's not your traditional pirates. They all have their respective like roles. One's a gunslinger, the other is more like your tech wizard, the other is
that's right.
Your
that's
tank,
right.
But also the team lead, and you have your mascot.
Of course, you got to have that.
And it's like I took things like that, things like Cowboy Bebop, where they also have like a team, and your femme fatales. I love that. So I was just trying to construct this world, and the way that it's set up is that it's built up in arcs, but it's still leading up to a bigger, more grander scale. And I'm just like, I can do this. I just need to figure out what I want to put into it.
That's cool that you spent so much time to build this world, and I feel your pain about working so hard on this story that you think it's yours. Like, no one has this, no one's gonna do it, like I'm doing this, and then all of a sudden you see it somewhere else and you're like, fuck,
right,
what the hell happened? That happened to me. I was developing this story about this wanderer. I just had this idea of a wanderer, and I just didn't know what exactly of what. I just thought, I was thinking like Ryu. I was thinking the guy from Kung Fu, the TV series. I forget his name, the character's name. But I was just wondering, like, he has to be a wanderer of some kind, and he's mysterious, but he's powerful. So then I started building this world around this archetype character. I created like fictional countries that represented, like, Russia, for instance, or the United States or Mexico, but different names in this little fantasy world, type of deal. And I was thinking, maybe this archetype can be like, he can have powers like kind of like a mixture of Dragon Ball Z mixed with like Street Fighter, but maybe he uses like elements of the earth, like the water. And I was like figuring out, and all of a sudden, fucking Avatar, the Airbender came. And I was like, fuck, dude, this is like, oh my god, what the hell? It's like, obviously there was no wanderer in that show. It was about Aang, but the elements of like the earth, the water, and the fire. I was like, dude, oh man, I can't believe it. They freaking beat me to it.
Yeah.
But the the sign of a great writer is that you don't give up. You don't quit. You go, you know what? There's still something here. I just gotta change. I just gotta change all the stuff that people will already know. Like, oh, did you take that from this? Like, oh, is this where you took it from? I was like, no, fucker. I was developing this before this came out. It just beat me to it. But no, I feel your pain, man, and I'm happy that you didn't let that video game discourage you from continue on, because we wouldn't have the Cerebrum Volume 1 on Indiegogo at the moment.
And they did something so cliche with it, and I was like, it was something that I saw coming, because every cyberpunk story always delves within this, like, it's either the soul within the soul. What does it mean to be human? And it's like, that pretentious shit out of here. I don't want that. I want to see sci-fi action. I want to see people with augmented cybernetics fucking shit up. That's what I want to see. I want to see Grand Theft Auto in the future. That's what I wanted. And nothing came to that level yet. And I'm bringing that to the table. That's what I wanted. I want ultra-violent, high-octane storytelling with a lot of guns and a lot of hot women in it. And it's like, man, they had such an opportunity to do something with it, and they screwed the pooch. And I was like, yes, finally. All right. Now, since I've already played the game and I thought it was pretty fucking mid, I think Cerebrum is better at the story itself.
I like that you went from getting that pretentious, ideas that we see in those tropes, and granted, like, those are good, but they've been done. We've seen them already. To death. Yeah.
Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Cyber City, even in things like what's that, Johnny Mnemonic.
It is done to death, and it's nice to hear that this is going to be elements of that, but you're not going to explore. You're just going to explore more of the just the fact that I would assume, I'm presuming anyway, it's still very grounded and human, right? Your characters, but even though they're surrounded by this fantastical sci-fi futuristic stuff, readers will still be able to connect with your characters.
Oh yeah, especially with the two main with the two brothers, because I'm in Houston. There's a lot of industry here, a lot of refinery workers.
Are these the brothers right here?
Yeah, and they work in an industrial refinery setting. Things go awry, and that's very, unfortunately, it's common in Houston where you see a lot of those things happen. People die, and a lot of explosions happen. So I wanted to take elements from things that I've seen on the news and incorporate them into the series.
My next question would be, is that how you approach writing? Do you take elements of your everyday life and pick at him, and then add them to not add them, but you weave them into your plots, into your storylines that you develop?
I have to, and it's like it's a very, I don't want to go into sob stories or anything like that, but yeah, it's a lot of messed up things that do happen that I'm going to incorporate, because there's like unless it feels real, then it's not going to translate well, So if I could put something like that into my stories, I think it would do wonders.
Since you are mainly influenced by manga, how old were you when you first picked up a manga book?
I was in 4th grade.
You were in 4th grade?
Yeah, and so
I hope it wasn't one of those. I hope it wasn't Berserk.
So it was during the whole Scholastic run. They were throwing out these little brochures, and you could tell your parents what you wanted. Yeah. You could order them off of the little order sheet. And so I was like, all right, what is this? Magna? I couldn't pronounce it to save my life. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was a long journey to get to manga.
Yeah.
So, it was watching a whole lot of, Dragon Ball Z, not knowing what it was until I was in high school. I was like, oh, so this is anime. Oh, this is manga. So that's how you pronounce it.
Right.
I started reading it heavily in high school, and I was like, this is awesome. This is good shit. I like it. And I didn't know why. And it didn't hit me until I became an adult. It's like, oh, it's a linear storyline. It's actually telling a story. You know, it's all leading up. You know, all these little arcs are all leading up to a bigger story, and that's what I liked about the way that they tell these stories. And you know, people give a lot of shit to manga because of the big eyes and the whole you
Right.
know stylized way
Yeah.
that they draw. And I'm like, I like that. It's different. It's unique, and not all of it looks the same. Berserk, Vagabond, Vinland Saga, Monster. You know, they
Right.
differ very differently than say you know your traditional shonen stuff. And it's all in these demographics. It's all split apart, so it's like something for everyone there. And I like that about it.
What was the manga book that really was the bigger influence on you? I know you started reading since you were fourth grade, but which book since then? Maybe no, not since then, but maybe up until you started to write. Which manga book was the one that really did it for you? I guess
It
is
was
what I'm trying to say.
it really you know I say it a lot and I sound like a broken record saying it, but it really was Black Lagoon. You know,
Okay.
it had that much of an influence on me in my writing.
What were the elements specifically that I guess
It was the mystery of it all, you know,
okay.
because you never really knew the backstories of these characters, you know, and it still felt like a family.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like I can't believe something like this is even around. I'm like, crazy. What? Why hasn't more people talked about it?
Right.
It's never occurred to me. It's still now. It's still a mystery how it became so popular. I guess people are secretly violent. You know, they crave that shit.
Why comics and not TV or film, for instance?
I'm poor,
Okay, that's a
and
good
I
reason.
have no other people skills. I don't really go out of my room or out of my shell per se. You know, I just really love the medium of comics. I love the visuals. There are things in comics that you can do that you would need a budget for in TV
Right.
or in films. Um, so I was like, you can do anything in comics. You can draw whatever you want. There is no real budget depending on the page rate of your artist. That's all
Right.
you literally have to worry about. Other than that, you should be fine. I never really had to worry anything because when I picked up AJ, he was like, "I like this story. I know what I can do with it. So let's run wild with it. Let's blow a lot of shit up. Not yet.
Awesome.
Let's do that later down the line.
Yeah.
We gotta set up some things first, and But yeah, it really just boiled down to I'm a nobody. I got nothing. Let's just make a comic book out of it and really run wild with it with no restrictions.
Awesome. That's the approach every writer should have, of course. Yeah, that's a great approach. I love that. Indie forever, or if an opportunity presented itself, Marvel or DC or some other publisher came knocking on your door, would you take the opportunity to do so, or would you just remain indie forever?
I've always been a Marvel fanboy, and I always had a story to tell with the Punisher and Spider-Man.
Oh, nice. So those two
So
characters would be the ones that you would choose to do if
I
they did
would
come knock on your door.
I would shit the bed if I had the opportunity to write for those characters. I've always had a really cool thing to tell with Spider-Man and the Shocker because the Shocker's always been like seen as a bit of a joke villain, even though he
Right.
had these really cool gauntlets that create shockwaves. I'm like, how have y'all not been able to make something this cool? Why haven't y'all made him this, big level threat yet? I'm like, man, you guys suck at this stuff. Did it for Craven the Hunter of all things, but not the Shocker.
Right. That's a fair answer. That's a fair answer. Who is the artist that you, alive or dead? Okay, so they could be alive or dead, that you would want to work with.
Marco Cicchetto, he's an Italian artist, and he did things for the Punisher, Daredevil.
Okay, yes. Okay, now I
Yeah.
remember his name. Okay.
His run, even with Chip Zdarsky on, it is what it is. I mean that. Oh my God, Devil's Reign and his art. I am just in love with it. His line work, everything about it. I'm just that is what I want.
So he's the guy. He's the guy you would love to work
he
with.
is
And
the dream guy right there.
okay, what about deceased? The artist who is deceased. Which one would you work with if you had an opportunity to work with?
That is hard.
Yeah, I would imagine.
You can either go Frazetta or the great Jack Kirby. It's like, or Mobius. It's like, I don't know who to choose.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Those are three great choices, by the way. What would you say is the most difficult obstacle indie comic book writers face today?
Networking.
Oh, that's a good answer.
There's a lot of books out there that should be where I'm at. There's a lot of books, and a lot of creators who should be where I'm at, but they're not because they either don't have a YouTube channel, don't have the time, or they're just not making themselves known in chats, on streams. They're just not present, and you need to be present if you're going to have a product out there. People need to see who they're buying from. Whether or not whether or not they're good on stream or not is irrelevant. I mean, every time I'm on stream, I have social anxiety. I can't stand being on streams, but I do it because it's necessary. It's the biggest necessity that everyone needs to do, and you need to talk to people regardless, especially if you have something that you want to get out there. If it's a story that you really want to tell and actually create an IP that's worth a damn, you need to get out there more, be more present, talk to people, and just it really bugs me when there's something out there that I really love, and it's like, damn it, guy, get on the stream, please. Yeah. Right. Here, I sent you the link. Get your ass over here.
Yeah, just some people are just so introverted they can't really.
I'm introverted, man. I have social anxiety. I can't. It really bugs me, because like every time I get like just a hint of pressure, I freeze up and I can't really talk.
But you still did it though.
I still
pushed through it.
You
still pushed through it.
And regardless of how it makes me look, it's like I don't care. I will suffer for my project, for my IP.
There you go. I think that's the attitude that a lot of us have to have, and you've done it. I mean, 10K, like I said, on your first campaign is really impressive. And you're close on fulfilling, right? You're close to fulfilling the books.
We're close on getting to print. We're just a step closer to getting on printers because we just started on the colors. Oliver from 6x6 has started, with the flats, and he started getting on the pages. And I'm buying a lot of the stretch goals right now. I got the stickers over here for the Black Label box set. Look at that.
Nice.
I got the acrylic standees coming right now, so they're coming. They're on their way.
Hustling, always hustling, B Rose.
Always hustling.
That's the way it's got to be. You're right.
We got the boxes coming as well. Those are already been ordered, so it's like, man, things take time, but they'll get here. And that's another thing. I mean, you want something out there quick, just so you can get started on the next one. Because man, even if it's a project you love, man, I don't know, man. It's me. This is just me. I get burned out every now and then. It's like, damn it. You want to keep up the enthusiasm, but you've been on a project for 5 damn years.
Yeah.
It's like you're running on fumes already because you're so close to actually getting it into people's hands, and it's like, man, I just want to sleep. I just want to take a nap.
Right. Well, hopefully you'll get your vacation after you fulfill the campaign. And then you'll be able to relax a little bit before you focus on volume 2. With all that, is it safe to say, with all the social media avenues available today, do indie comic book writers have it better and easier today than was maybe back in 5-10 years ago?
They should.
They should, right?
That's the only answer. They should. It's just, again, it all goes back to networking. It's really that simple. It's just people are lazy.
Yeah, I would
That's
say.
really it. That's really the only answer, is that people are just lazy.
Network is net worth, I would say.
Yes.
It's safe to say, right? Yeah.
I've heard that saying. I love it. I love that saying a lot.
So what's your approach personally as a writer?
I have multiple steps when it comes to writing. I just start off with a premise, multiple premises, and I just go with what sounds interesting and what would be fun and dynamic. But for this first book, I went, setup. I went linear with everything. So that's just how I just decided to go. Because I could have started in media res, mid arc, doing something, with these characters that already, know each other, but like we'll tell the stories back then, yada yada yada. But I decided to go, no, let's just go with the origin. Let's get this out of the way and tell a linear storyline. So I went about just writing the premises for the first 3 arcs. First three volumes that would tell this arc. And then I would go in there and I would do an entire script just to see where I can go with it. Multiple changes throughout the year.
Yeah, of course.
It is never perfect. Your first draft will always be dog shit.
Of course.
In comparison to where it will end up. I just do that first script, make the changes, go into the second, third, fourth draft, sometimes even the fifth, which is what I'm doing now.
No, that's good. That's good. You want to have fifth or sixth drafts, because that means there's growth. That means that you've pulled out the weeds from this garden that you're building in your story. So in my opinion, the more drafts you have, the better. So that's your approach then. Go ahead.
I'm going through the fifth one right now with editors right now. So that I think is very important, that every book have an editor of some sort.
Of course, absolutely.
At least, please, just get a proofreader.
Yeah.
My weakest thing right now, I would say, is my grammar. So I'm like, damn it. I need those commas. Please help.
Right.
But yeah, so after going through that, I structure these arcs in trilogies. So let's say with this first three volumes, I always want to go with with volume 1 as like questions. I want the reader to ask questions, and to bring up questions. What's this? What's this about? What's going to happen? Volume 2 would be the answers to those questions. It's like, oh, damn, so this is why, this is what happened. That is messed up. What are we going to do about it? It leads into volume 3, the reaction to those answers.
Nice.
I think that's a way to keep things fresh, keep things fun, keep the flow going, to keep the interest of the reader going as well. Because you're getting a little, piece of the pie as you go.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just something that I haven't really seen or like done right, or like just, I don't know, man.
At least not done in a long while, because I haven't seen that either. And I'm a fan of that too. I'm a fan of the slow burn. I've always been a fan of that, where you start.
Yeah, and what I've realized was people have low attention spans.
Oh yeah.
It's like, come on, man. I know people with ADD that have read the scripts through 1 and 3, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. You're just a nitpicker.
Yeah.
And it's fun, to have nitpickers. They will always give you shit and tell you where you went wrong. And it's like,
if you look at the upside of it, it can get you sharper as a writer.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I look forward to when I'm getting the feedback.
Exactly.
I know a lot of nitpickers. I can't wait for them to tear my ass apart on that. You can only get better.
Exactly. Absolutely. You can only get better with the criticism, the constructive criticism. Because remember, you want to build up, not down. So I would hope that the people who do get their copy of Cerebrum will give you constructive criticism, so that way when you do work on volume 2, the story is a lot sharper. you're a lot more seasoned. You have more hours, working on it, and so on and so forth. But then again, at the same time, with that same token, you can't please everybody either.
Nah, you really can't.
No, you can't.
I'm just doing what I want to do.
Exactly. And that's the only thing you can really do.
And if they don't, well, I hope there's another book out there for you that you enjoy.
Exactly. There you go. That's the right answer. That's the right attitude to have. When it comes working with your artists, what's your approach with that? I mean, you gave us the broad scope of like how you as a writer plot out your three your 3-volume arc stories, and each volume in trilogies will be different major story arcs, correct? Your approach to Cerebrum. So now let's shrink it a little bit here and focus more on the process between you and the artist. What's your collaborative process like with an artist? Like what's the artist name for Cerebrum?
AJ Cerezo, he's out of the Philippines.
Okay,
tremendous guy. He's been around with me working for like 2 years, and he's been with me through thick and thin. So
nice.
He's an incredible artist, and I'm keeping him on, man. Stop telling me to change my artist. I'm not doing it.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So in between the premise and like I would say around the 3rd or 4th draft, I would say where I'm more comfortable that this is the exact story that I want to tell, I would actually thumbnail the entirety of the book. So that was like 60 pages because I always wanted to be an artist. I just never could hone down the skills, to be comfortable enough to actually make my own. So it's just thumbnails with the amount of panels and the way that I would just go about it. So I just give it like a screenshot to my artist and I'll say, make it pretty. I was like, here's the script. Here's the thumbnail. Thank you.
Now, when you send them that stuff, do you let them have a little bit of creative? Not creative.
Of course, because you got to make it fun for them as well. You can't just be on that leash 24/7.
Right.
You got to give them some creative frame. And so I'm very lenient and I'm very lax. And me and AJ, we always go back and forth. We have that good rapport with each other that where we can trust what we want, and when there's a mistake that I will just speak up and say something about it. Because a lot of the times I would be like, hey man, that face looks weird, can you go back and change it? There was a lot of weird faces in the beginning that we had to go back and be like, yeah, nah man, that's not gonna work, let's change that. This hand also looks iffy. What'd you do
that's a great editing process to go through, because that is important, because if the reader, especially comic book readers, you want to talk about picky, you want to talk about nitpicking. Comic book readers can be nitpicky. So it's got to be close to perfect, or else you're gonna get torn apart by the reader.
This also works in the networking phase as well. Whenever you're getting those pages in, you can like post up panels as well.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Certain scenes and all that, and be like, hey, well, this is in the works. You can like link your sign up pages as well. Please sign up.
Right. Yeah.
Take that art. Their chances are, there is a chance that they will back your book if they sign up.
Was AJ okay with you sending him thumbnails? Because I know some artists, artists I've worked with before in the past personally, didn't like that very much.
Oh, no. AJ was like super grateful about it because he wants thumbnails. Because not a lot of people, because English is not his first language.
Okay.
It's a bit, a little bit of slight language barrier, but yeah, he really appreciated it too. It's like another assistant.
Right.
You can only do so much with a script, but like at the end of the day, it's your vision as a writer. This is unless it's like a collaborative thing, this is your baby. This is your sole product. This is what you want to put out to people. So it's got to be to your standards. The way that we always talked about it is just like, hey, is this what you want? And I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. That's awesome. Then I would give the green light. He would do a rough, and I would, make some changes there. Then he would go into it, make it a little bit more tighter, more changes if need be. And then he would go in there. He'll do the finish with the inks, and because he does everything digitally, but then things happen.
Right.
You gotta make those edits. And then the final green light, and everything's wrapped up in a bow.
How many edits do you go through with him when you are going back and forth? You have a limit, or is it until you feel you're satisfied?
I'm happy with it.
So you happy with it?
Yeah, AJ never really charged me for edits unless I felt guilty, and I'm like, here.
Oh, is it after the fact? So, like, say for instance, he finished the page, and then you're looking at it, you're like, something's off here, man. You need to change it. Yeah.
That was like up until I think the last edit was in April.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, and so that was it. That was the last edit made. I requested a whole page be redone. I was like, hey, so this ain't exactly working as well, but like it still fits with the story. Let's just go ahead and redo this whole thing like this. And so we cut out like 2 panels and we made it 3. That way it's just more streamlined and more straightforward. And, it wasn't all that clutter. So we just did that, and, now I'm happy with it.
There you go. See, sometimes that does happen. You finish a page and you look at it and you're like, something's still off.
For me, it's like, oh, I love it. 2 months later, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, fuck. So that's my problem, though. So I gotta have more of a sharper eye, and let my artists know when something needs to happen.
I would my advice to you, well, my advisement, I should say, to you, from one writer to another, you got to put on the objective goggles, as I like to call it. So instead of getting excited when you get a new page, you should. I know it sounds cold, but trust me, guys who watch the video, this is not me as a writer, like being an a-hole or anything like that. It's just a factor of like what works, because remember, you're giving this to the audience. The reader is going to get this, and when the reader gets a book, they expect a high quality piece of work, because they're going to compare it automatically to the Marvel and DC stuff they see in the shops. That's just natural. We all do it. I do it. I always like to look at it with objective eyes. So I look at it and I just pretend like I'm an editor working for a publisher, and I'm going, okay, does this work for the product that we're selling? And I just have one final question. Where in the hell did Bow come from?
That is channel lore that has been around since the beginning of my streaming career. So we had this guy on that ran a very small convention out in Canada. And so there's one douchebag in the fucking chat that was just like harping on the guy for no reason. I guess he was like a troll that was following this guy. And so there were other guys in my chat that were like defending. It was like, hey man, I don't know what, you got a bug up your ass. Maybe you got to smoke crack. they were just throwing out Bow, and it came from this other dude, another YouTuber that did like Star Wars stuff, like for the Venice. And so it was like, just like, I'm out here in these streets every day. That guy. So I added Bow to it, and at the end of it, it's just like it just kind of just stuck, and thus the Crack Pack was born out of all of that.
Okay, all right, yeah, because I remember I started seeing it, and I remember I liked it. I was like, Bow, that's pretty cool, because it's a lot of
it can mean anything.
It can mean anything, and
greeting.
And I like that it's the is it the lowercase b and then capital O and then lowercase w, right?
The lowercase b, a 0, and a
A
lowercase
zero. Okay, a
W.
zero.
It's a lot more thinner.
Yeah, Bow. And I remember I saw like someone made like an NWO replica of Bow on the
Yeah,
shirt.
they got made. Yeah, Brian did those.
Okay, Brian did those.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, you talk about earlier. You mentioned about networking and how it really is net worth because, I mean, that couldn't have happened without the network, right? Without the network you built for yourself.
Yeah,
Bow.
a lot of things can come from it. Lore and
Yeah.
memes, friendships. A
Yeah.
lot of things can happen.
Exactly. So yeah, we got everything we needed to talk about when it comes to writing, your process, and who you are as a person, and what you want to accomplish with Cerebrum. And which is, guys, Cerebrum is still on in demand on Indiegogo. If you have not backed this campaign, check it out. You pitch it. It's your story. You pitch the story. Go for it.
So Cerebrum follows two brothers who become damaged, which is a whole nother thing. And now one of them is in a coma. The other one has to, associate with the underworld of crime in order to keep his brother alive because they're lacking money at that point in time. Now they got nowhere else to go. No, they don't know anybody at this point now. So they gotta do what they gotta do to survive.
There you go. So yeah, guys, if you have not backed this campaign, do it. He's about to fulfill the campaign, so you don't have to wait a long time for your books. And help, you already made it help happen for B Rose. He's close. He's close to getting out of the ghetto, but not quite yet.
Not quite there. Let's double
not quite
that.
there yet. Help B Rose get out of the ghetto. You have anything last you want to say before we call it?
Please back Cerebrum Volume 1. This is something that's been 5 years in the making. And I put a lot of literal blood, sweat, and tears into this project. I'm a mechanic by day, so it's like, there's a lot of things that can happen on the job, and I do it for my project. I did it for this thing, and hopefully, whenever this reaches your doors and you read it, you enjoy it, and I can't wait to make more. I do also have a YouTube channel at Black Rose Comics, and I do and I stream practically whenever I want, but primarily on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
There you go. And one final thing that I'll ask: what advice would you have for anyone who wants to do this?
Save up.
That's the number one for sure.
Yeah, save up so that you're not struggling to get this out. And we've covered this a lot, but I cannot emphasize enough on networking. Please, fucking network. Please. It can do you wonders, especially being a no-name. Trust me. I wouldn't have the good fortune of hitting 10.8 if I didn't do like half the work. So
there you go.
Can't half-ass it like at all.
There you go. Well, there you go. You heard it right from the horse's mouth. Network is net worth, and if you're an aspiring comic book writer or an artist, I would say specifically a writer because writers have it a little harder than the artists. Save up your money, save up your budget, and start networking. Start reaching out. Start showing your face. Start, join the chat on the live streams. Interact on Twitter. Interact on any other social media that you may be a part of, and just have fun making comics. Like, it's all about having fun here. If you take yourself too seriously, you're in the wrong place, I imagine. And for those of us who grew up in the ghetto, like myself and B Rose,
in the ghetto.
We all know that the best approach to life while living in a dire situation is to just laugh and have a good time, because that's all we have left. And comics as well. So
staying indoors.
Exactly. Introverted indoors. So With that said, I would like to thank everyone who joined us and listened to this interview. Again, this show, Just Talkin, that's the name of the show. I will be interviewing other indie comic book writers. So if you know of any writers who you think deserves a little spotlight, a little, attention, hit them my way and let them know that I'm interviewing and I'm open to interviews, and we'll just talk and we'll see what they're all about, and hopefully they start to network if they're not networking. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, and you can follow me on Twitter at A Lucid Comic. I currently have a project myself called Vigilant FURY. You can find more information on there if you are interested. You can find B Rose at Twitter. What's your handle again, B Rose?
It's at Black Rose Comics, all lowercase, but like the comics has the X at the end.
There you go. Follow him there. But with that said, guys, you guys have a good one. Stay safe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.